Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new edition of Joshi Weekly here on the YouTube channel. I am your host, as always, Scott E., and I am excited to speak with each and every one of you about an incredible weekend in the world of Joshi. We're going to be talking the STARDOM Korakuens, the Marigold Korakuen, the incredible match between Iida and Chihiro Hashimoto, as well as a lot of news and notes along the way. Hopefully, you're all having a great time as the new year is in full swing. I know that I am, and hopefully, you've all enjoyed the content we've been putting up right here on the channel. So, before we get to this video, let me ask you all, if you haven't already, go check out the Joshi Predictions 2026, giving predictions for everything around the scene, from Stardom to Marigold to Marvelous to Pure J to uh Choco Pro to Sareism, everything in between. If you haven't checked that out, please do. Also, say this one more time, if you haven't, check out the 2025 Joshi Awards. Thank you to everyone once again who voted on those. And then for your New Year's content, we still have the New Year's Joshi reviews, the Shuri Versailles Kamatani match review, the 5-star review for Marigold First Dream 2026. The same goes for Stardom Dream Queendom 2025, and of course the Suriyama Yoka feature. You can check all those out right now on the YouTube channel. That being said, let's get to it. Welcome back to Joshi Weekly. I hope everyone enjoys kind of what we bring to the table with Joshi Weekly. It's a way for me to cover a lot of different things, or update you on the worlds of Stardom, Marigold, whatever it may be, in a short, concise way, kind of like my old podcast. So hopefully that interests you. Hopefully you enjoy when we do this. And this past weekend was full of major Joshi events, so it only felt right that we do it here today. We're gonna also hit some TJPW news, because we know the main event for Grand Princess, and it might be one that a lot of people didn't expect. Maybe they did expect. But that will be the big conversation point there as well. So we're going to cover a little bit of everything here today, and hopefully you enjoy the ride, because I know I will. So let's get right to it, huh? Shall we? So overall, I think when it comes to this week in Joshi, we were filled with news. We were filled with so much to talk about, so much to discuss. And I think that's kind of the beauty of Joshi wrestling these days. And I say that because I feel like sometimes we don't get a lot of news. Sometimes we don't get a lot of big shows. But 2025 is off to an incredible start. As good a start as I can remember, quite frankly. And I say that as someone who loved 2025, who has loved many years of Joshi wrestling in a row. But January through, I'm recording this on the 12th, so through 12 days has been simply unbelievable in terms of match quality, in terms of big time news, in terms of excitement moving forward. So that's why I'm so excited to get things started here today. That's why I'm so excited to talk about it all, because it is, like I said, such an exciting time in the world of Joshi wrestling. So that's enough ramble. That's enough going back and forth. Let's get into it right here, right now. And we're going to start off with the big TJPW news. And that, of course, was that Miyu Watanabe will officially defend the Princess of Princess Championship against Yuki Arai. Big time news indeed. And this is big time news because there was a survival match featuring Max the Impaler, Mizuki, Rika Tatsumi, Shoko Nakajima, Miyu Yamashita. That was it. Was it 5? Did I say Max the Impaler? Because I meant to. Yeah. And of course, Yuki Arai to decide the number one contender. This was at Shinjuku Face on Saturday, and it was Arai who outlasting everyone to get the opportunity. And not only did she outlast everyone, she made Miyu Watanabe tap out in the middle of the ring to do so. A stunner, a shocker, and a major, major win for someone in Arai who I think many believe TJPW is ready to run with, ready to go with, of course, after she went full time with the promotion beginning last year, moving on from her idol duties. It's a fascinating main event in terms of Miyu Watanabe coming off of one of the best matches of the entire year against Suzume, one of the best world title matches in of this decade, and so much and so on. I'm fascinated to see, honestly, if we're being quite frank, what does this match look like? How much can Miyu Watanabe maybe elevate Yuki Arai to her level? What can they do when they share the ring come Sumo Hall? That's really the question. That's really the conversation. But I understand why you go with Yuki Arai here, right? She's a big time star. She's one of their top stars and one of their real future pieces that they're really emphasizing. So that was a decision they made, and making Miyu Yamashita tap, that's something. That's big time news. So that is all we have for TJPW, but I just wanted to note that. I know Yuka Sakazaki and Konosuke Takeshita will also be competing on that show as well. So we'll see how that all goes. But moving on, we had to the Stardom Korakuen Hall shows. We have officially kicked off the 15th anniversary celebration for Stardom. This was kind of the official start of that. We have the new 15th anniversary logo and so on. We'll have plenty of content, mind you, for the 15th anniversary over the next couple of weeks, months, whatever it may be. Plenty being planned. We're not going to go over every match, however, from the Korakuens. We will go over the news, though. But there are some matches I wanted to point out along the way, beginning with Hazuki and Fuwa-chan teaming up to take on Koguma and Ane Kanaya. This is a very important match because it is Fuwa-chan's second match now that she is a full-time kind of wrestler. She's full-time, but she's not. She is now just a professional wrestler. That is the reality we live in. But Stardom is kind of timing when she wrestles and when she doesn't, with that in mind. So this was her first match since her re-debut at Stardom Dream Queendom, and I think overall she did another good job teaming with Hazuki. I really like the tandem. I think Fuwa-chan has simply elevated Hazuki in terms of really everything. Once upon a time, and we'll talk about this more later, but once upon a time last year, it really felt like Hazuki was 1 foot out the door in Stardom, right? All the stuff with Hanan clearly unfolds kind of in front of us, and you see a disconnection. Hazuki is then left doing freelance, not in the 5-star Grand Prix. FWC goes Lucha in the tag league rather than just being FWC. Everything that you could imagine to be different from what we would expect from a usual Hazuki year, especially, was changing. And it left us, or at least myself, wondering, is she going to leave? Is she going to go more part-time? Is she going to go to CMLL because she loves CMLL? What does it look like? Because it was such a odd year for Hazuki. Well. Fuwa-chan, the person who obviously is a major, major star, one that, I talked about on the Stardom Dream Queendom review, as someone who I think Stardom is going to be very quick to push up the card, very quick to make one of the centerpieces of the company. Well, who does she love? Who does she want to team with and face off in her first match? Well, that's Suzuki. Things change when you have someone like Fuwa-chan, I think, on your side. And I think that's what we're seeing. Let's just be honest here. I think that's what we're seeing. And it's a great thing. It's a great thing because this weekend and the past number of weeks for Hazuki have just been the ultimate showcase that who is the best wrestler in this company when she is allowed to be. That is Hazuki. We will talk about that way more here a little bit. But I will say Hazuki helped Fuwa-chan earn her first career win. So that was very cool as well. And now we wonder what's next for Fuwa-chan. What's next for FWC? I'd love to see them just make them a faction at this point. I love the trio. I love put Kanai in there too, but I love the idea of it. And I just love seeing Hazuki do more. So this was a nice start to the weekend of Korakuens, especially because it felt like Hazuki was, again, back kind of in importance, and hopefully it leads to more very, very soon. The biggest news probably of the weekend for anyone that was paying attention to the world of Joshi, the big reveal after all the videos, after all the teasers, it was revealed that Maki Itoh, which I predicted correctly, not that it was a hard prediction after the last video they shared, but that, hey, first prediction right. If you haven't checked out the Joshi predictions video, go check it out. But Maki Itoh officially joined Stardom, signing contract, and becoming a full-time roster member. A fascinating addition. A fascinating addition. I'm not going to sit here and discredit the idea of Maki Itoh joining because I don't know what this looks like. I don't know what this becomes. Maki Itoh had a incredible peak during her time in TJPW 2021, 2022 which saw her as one of the best storytellers in all of professional wrestling. That saw her as someone who could have the ultimate world title match against Miyu Yamashita at Wrestle Princess, one of the best matches of 2021. Really, since then though, she has become kind of, more of an act than necessarily the wrestler that I think Maki Itoh made so many fans of. She went to GCW. She could rely on her comedic strengths and rely on the bits and things like that. That's not what she is anymore. She is now a full-time Stardom wrestler in a company that obviously is a budding company at that. They continue to become hotter and hotter and hotter, big attendance every single show, all these different things. And I think there is a role for Maki Itoh. I just don't know what the role is going to turn out being. Is she going to be a little bit more comedic? Is she going to just be Maki Itoh? Because through the first two appearances of her run, it sure feels that way. Her first promo, she's like, "Let's make money. Let's do this. Let's do that." And we'll talk about her first match and her second promo. But it's a fascinating addition, a fascinating one that I'd love to hear your thoughts on. Leave in the comments below. What do you think about Maki Itoh joining Stardom? Because I think it is really a mixed bag of thoughts for me. But I will land here. I want to see Maki Itoh succeed. Maki Itoh at her peak is my favorite TJPW wrestler of all time. That 2021-2022 run, whatever you want to call it, was incredible. And I always believe that the great story that they could have told was her beating Miyu Yamashita to win the Princess Championship. To think that we have landed here where in her latter years she became a little more and more less important in TJPW to the point where her contract expired and she just moved on was crazy to me. Just absolutely crazy. But now she is a member of Stardom. Now she has joined this roster. And now we got to figure out how it fits. And that's honestly like 90% of the intrigue of her signing. I don't know where she fits. I don't know what faction she fits in. I don't know if her style is necessarily up and connects necessarily with Stardom style, right? Stardom has this real work rate esque not high speed, but they're going type feel, right? I don't know what this will look like. I don't, but part of that's the excitement. We've had one match, and she looked good in the match. We'll talk about that here in a second. But the Maki Itoh signing is just a major one in terms of a big time TJPW star moving over to Stardom. That is what this is. I know by the time she was gone, she wasn't a big time top of the line star yet, but still, there's name value here. There's a lot of name value here. And now we'll see how she clicks with the roster. Is she going to be a main event level talent in their eyes? Is she going to lead a faction? Is she just going to kind of sway in based on her debut? She just seems like Maki Itoh, which could be good, could be bad. I don't know, but I'm intrigued. I'm fascinated to see where it goes. We know her first singles match now, which we'll get to here in a second. But what we also know is that Maki Itoh is now a full-time member of this roster. And with that being said, let's see how it goes. That's plain and simple. Let's see how it goes. I'm not going to be the one to counter out yet because I think Maki Itoh's used to experiencing that in her life and proving doubters wrong. So let's see her, maybe prove some doubters wrong. I don't know the connection. I don't know the fit, but I'm intrigued nonetheless. So congrats to Maki Itoh on the new deal. And we'll see where we go from here. But the Stardom roster, I'll say this, keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. We'll talk about some of the news also that's come out of this show or out of these two shows. But let's talk about it here now, shall we? We had a main event, BMI 2000 versus O2 Line. I, Admittedly, the first night Korakuen was the less intriguing one to me, which worked out because it was on at a time of day that I was just not going to be up to watch it. But I got to the full show. I watched the full show and I was like, okay, what's worth chatting about? Well, obviously the main event. It's a championship match, and it's BMI 2000 once again in their spot, facing another set of babyface duo. This time being Miyu Amasaki and Azumi. I think when you prepare yourself for a BMI 2000 match, I think for myself and maybe some others, you kind of expect the recipe. You know the recipe, right? There's going to be heelish moments. We're going to have to avoid that mist. But what is the action that gets us there, and how does the crowd react? And does the crowd get behind the baby faces? If the crowd gets behind the baby faces, it's a majorly successful match for BMI 2000 for everyone involved, and that's what it does. I think BMI 2000 are lovely, lovely goddesses of Stardom champions, because ultimately, whenever a babyface team beats them, it's going to mean a lot. And for O2 Line, especially Miyu Amasaki, I think she needed this match. I think she needed them as opponents, because having them as opponents was going to get her to a point where the crowd was going to be on her side, which they were. That was the accomplishment at the end of this match. And that's the beauty of this match. I think when I watch O2 Line, I love O2 Line. I really do. I think they are a fantastic duo, a duo that, mind you, I think have a ton, a ton of hope in terms of what they can be as a duo and what they can be as single stars. I've long been a Miyu Amasaki fan and believer. I'm literally dating back to her debut against Utami Hashish on New Blood, the first New Blood. I said, okay, I can see something here. Will she ever be a main eventer? I don't know, but I think she has the potential to be at least a Wonder of Stardom title challenger, at least that. And with Azumi, it's just a lot of people waiting around saying, okay, what are we doing with Azumi, right? I feel like that's always kind of the spot we're in with Azumi, especially since losing the New Japan Strong Women's title. People forget she made the 5-star final. This was all ramble to say I was just happy to see them in this spot. And ultimately, the match paid off to be what it was. It was a very solid match, one that I think was probably the weakest of the title matches Stardom had on the weekend, but still a very, very strong outing that allowed BMI 2000 to get another strong defense and get Miyu Amasaki her moment in the sun. You know, they ended up getting misted, and that was the end pretty much. But for what BMI 2000 brings to the table, they continue to bring excitement with their title matches. They continue to bring intrigue, and whoever ultimately beats them, which, you know, is part of the Stardom overall story, who's going to beat Hate, it's going to be a big time payoff. So I enjoyed the match. I enjoyed what they accomplished here. I'm happy for O2 Line, especially Miyu Amasaki, for getting the shot in the big Korakuen main event. Now we have sad news. We had so much excitement, right, to start off. Maki Itoh joins, and that creates intrigue and wonder. BMI 2000 gives O2 Line a really good defense. If you're a big Yuki Arai fan, you're pumped about that. But this is just a bummer. Saki Kashima announced on the Saturday Korakuen Hall show that she will be retiring in April. And it will be at All Star Grand Kingdom. That will be her final match. And my heart breaks. My heart breaks because Saki Kashima, I've long called her the great Joshi role player. And if you know sports, you know what a role player is. You know what they do. You'll have your stars, you'll have your starters, you'll have all these different things. And then you have your role players. Who's going to fit a role when whatever role you may need them in. That's what Saki Kashima did. Whether it was to be the spoiler in a tournament, the comedic wrestler on a show, the great third and artist of Stardom championship team, so many different things. She always filled that role. This is one of the last first generation Stardom wrestlers still going. And we know Saki Kashima has dealt with a lot of, poor health moments, right? She's over the past number of years, there's been a lot of times when you get that update from Stardom, "Oh, Saki Kashima will miss this weekend due to poor health," or, she dealt with injury at the towards the end of last year that kept her out of the, Goddesses of Stardom Tag League playoffs, right? So it kinda gets you to the point where maybe you're not shocked, but you're absolutely devastated because, again, Saki Kashima, I think, was one of those favorites for many fans of, like, you just wanted good things to go for her, right? And I'll never forget her role, with Mayu. Their connection was always so wonderful, and I think for me, like, that's kinda what I automatically look at. It's like, I don't care what it takes. There needs to be a world where in this Saki Kashima, retirement run until April, where her and Mayu can share a moment, share the ring one more time. It has to happen. I know Mayu's in Marigold, I know she's in Stardom, but it has to happen because there's so much history there. There's so much friendship and love and appreciation there, and you just you want those 2, and especially Saki when she has only a few more months left in her career, you want to see them connect, you want to see them click. The wrestling's gonna miss Saki Kashima. Joshi's gonna miss Saki Kashima. Stardom's gonna miss Saki Kashima. What she brought to the table, you can't replace. You can't because she did it so well. Um, we know her first true match of her final series or so will be against Shuri. That will be at Supreme Fight 2026 in Osaka. So that kind of was my first thought of a retirement match for her. So I'm interested to see what it ends up being. Um, but at the same time, I'm happy that she seemingly can kind of do it on her own terms. She's able to go these next few months and do it, but it's still an absolute bummer because, man, oh man, losing Saki Kashima and losing someone who brings everything she does to the table, it's a real loss. It's a real loss. So I wish her nothing but the best, and we'll enjoy our final few months of Saki in the ring while we can. And we'll try to do our best to celebrate her along the way. All right, now we go to number 2, day 2 of the Stardom Korakuen New Year's Stars series, whatever you want to call it. From this weekend, we head to Sunday. We're going to talk the final 3 matches here, starting with Sariano and Maki Itoh in Maki Itoh's Stardom debut, taking on Sayaka Karada and Aya Sakura. So this was Maki Itoh's first chance to step into a Stardom ring and in many ways maybe reestablish herself in Japan as a whole and in the wrestling world. She kind of took a few dates off. She did a few GCW dates post TJPW after August, but for the most part, this felt like a way for her to reintroduce herself. And as you can see, the gear's still the same. She's still singing to the ring, all these different things. How different was Maki Itoh going to be? And ultimately, it wasn't too different. She was Maki Itoh, which again, you don't want her to be completely different because I think for me, myself, I would love to see Maki Itoh back at that peak level with that, storytelling and this lovable underdog babyface. We'll see if that's ultimately what she becomes. And based on the result of this first match, it might be. Um, but overall, I think she did well. I think she did well. She clicked with Aya. That was kind of the main duo. I don't think the match is a blowaway match by any means, but they were trying to tell a story between Seriano and Maki Itoh at the same time. Of like these two don't get along, these two don't click. So that's something. While also playing to the Maki Itoh nickname of the cutest in the world, which paid off in the post match because Aya Sakura defeated Maki Itoh in her debut match. She pinned Maki Itoh, making Maki Itoh lose her debut match in Stardom, which I'd say is kind of fitting of the Maki Itoh character that I would prefer to see, which is kind of the person that can lose, and you want to build them up by doing so in many ways. Yes, I'm sure she's going to get big wins here and there, but kind of setting her up in the Maki Itoh sense is not a bad thing to do. And it ultimately came from a disconnect between her and Sayano, which allowed Aya Sakura to pin her on a roll up. I'm fascinated. Honestly, if we're being truly honest, I'm fascinated to see how this continues to go. But we do know that Maki Itoh's first singles match in Stardom will be at Supreme Fight 2026 when she goes one-on-one with Aya Sakura. So a big time opportunity for Aya Sakura as well on that show, which I love. I'm big Aya Sakura fans, as you know. Um, and the idea is if Aya Sakura wins, Maki Itoh can't call herself the cutest in the world in a Stardom ring. So that's a fun little addition to the match itself. There's still, jury's still out on what is Maki Itoh in Stardom. I'm not going to judge it off of one match or anything, but they were a lot more into this entire display, I think, more so than just the reveal on the previous night. And when I say that, I mean the Korakuen crowd. So I'm intrigued. I I continue to be intrigued. There's still so much time to figure out what, where, when, why. But I will tell everyone this now. This just kind of came to my mind. Following Supreme Fight in Osaka, we will have a beginner's guide to Stardom. I made one last year. I know people loved it. We will make a new one this year, beginner's guide to Stardom 2026, to help everyone get up to date. Hopefully by then we'll know how factions and such are going, because I do think we have a lot of movement coming up here in the near future. It's also worth noting, just on this while we're here, we kind of didn't talk about the match, but Mi Vida Loca will be taking on EXV in a faction match, which is important because that faction match is going to serve as, I think the end of one of those two factions, or maybe the combining of those two. But unfortunately, I don't know what Mi Vida Loca is going to even look like for that match, because Bozilla was unfortunately injured during the handicap opener. That's what the match was. It was 5-on-4 because Suzuki had to miss it due to sickness. And while Suzu is back, and we'll talk about her later on, um, Bozilla had an injury, and they announced she's not going to be on this upcoming weekend. She's not going to be on the Korakuen, and we'll see further there. It didn't seem good from those in the building. They told me, there were doctors checking on her. So ultimately, we're just wishing the best for Bozilla. Injuries suck, man. And between Matoya Hamabe, Emma Maishima, who's dealing one, Saya Kamatani's taking time off due to being banged up. It's a tough time. It's good that they have such a big roster, but man, oh man, oh man, that Bozilla was a really big time downer. So hopefully it's best case scenario for her. But yeah, I just want to talk about the Mi Vida Loca EXV thing, because we're still building towards that. That is official for Supreme Fight. I just don't know what the match ultimately looks like when we get there. Yeah, here we go. Let's talk about the real. Okay. Hazuki versus Mei Seira, CML Japan Women's Championship, or as I like to call it, the top title in Stardom moving forward, as far as I'm concerned after this one. I have had many a recording. I've had many a conversation with, either on this channel, on the 5-Star Joshi show, on other shows, of who I find to be among the best wrestlers, not only in the world, but in Stardom and Joshi, whatever. And I've said many a time, Hazuki deserves the world, folks. She deserves the world, because this is a wrestler who, if you let her go to full capacity, she is going to put on one of the best freaking matches possible, each and every time out there. There's a reason I call her the greatest Wonder of Stardom champion, or championship wrestler ever. She's never won the belt, but every time she challenges for it, she has one of the best matches the title has ever seen. Every single time. And listen, I don't know the entire history of the CMLL Japan's Women's Championship. Like, I haven't seen every single match. So I'm not going to say this is the best match of the title's history, but man, oh man, if there's a better one, let me see it. Because this was sensational. This was sensational. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I've said it before on Twitter, but I'm saying it here. Mei Seira has become the Stardom Korakuen Hall MVP, the ace of their Korakuens. Oh, we need a great match? Let's put Mei Seira on there. We did it with the High Speed Championship for the past year and a half, 2 years, whatever it may be. Now we're doing it with her in a different championship match against Hazuki, right? Because she beat Hazuki defending her high speed title. So let's come back around with the CMLL Japan Women's title on the line. This match ruled. It could be the best championship match in Stardom. Championship match in Stardom, in my opinion, since Rena and Starlight Kid in February of last year. That's how great this match was for me. That's how phenomenal this was for me. It's one of the best matches of the year. It might be my top rated Joshi match of the year, which is pretty great company considering, we have Miyu Watanabe versus Suzume, we have Takumi versus Mayu, we have another one we're going to talk later. We have so many amazing matches so far this year, but this one might take the cake. This one's phenomenal. This one is everything. Everything I love about Hazuki, everything I love about Mei Seira, all put into one, into a Korakuen that was rocking. God, it's the best match I've seen all week. Period. Plain and simple. And I think it's going to be in my top 10 when 2026 ends. That's how great it was. This is a match of domination for Hazuki. This is a match of just absolutely bringing it to Mei Seira. And Mei Seira is at her best when she is that underdog, has to fight back, has those moments of hope, has those moments of greatness. Hazuki hit the brain buster in the closing minutes in a big time kick out. She hit the Hazuki straw, got Mei Seira down, shoulders on the mat, kick out. Everything you could ask for. Drama, athleticism, explosiveness, greatness, fantastic professional wrestling, beginning to end. Oh my God. I'm just so thrilled with this match. I'm so thrilled with the fact that Hazuki is able to be, look at this badass. I'm so thrilled that Hazuki gets to be Hazuki again because man, oh man, 2025 felt like she couldn't always be Hazuki. I talked about it each and every week. What are we doing with Hazuki? Why is Hazuki not doing this? Why is Hazuki not doing that? Hazuki is the best wrestler pound for pound in the company, folks. Listen, my favorite my favorite wrestlers in the company are Rena, Hina, but above all, when Hazuki gets to be Hazuki, it's Hazuki. That's just the reality. That's just the reality. This match ruled. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. She had a damn emerald flosion to get the win. She also called out Olympia after the match. The match is just so good. Must see, must watch. Go out of your way to do it. I think we had, let me check the tape. I think we had 3, 4, 5 maybe fantastic Joshi matches that I'm gonna recommend on this show. This is the highest of recommendations. This is the highest. Go out of your way to see it because my oh my, is it fantastic? Is it everything I love about Joshi wrestling? It's everything I love about Korakuen Hall. It's everything I love about pro wrestling these days. Hazuki, home run, one of the best in the world when she gets to be one of the best in the world. And that's exactly what she was here. Mei Seira, you deserve your flowers as well. It's time to get you into the world of Stardom, all these different title pictures. I'm going to talk about it when we get to Iida, but this company has so many incredibly talented wrestlers. Hazuki, Iida, Mei Seira, right? The list goes on and on and on and on. Can we have more from them? More for them in this company outside of the CML Japan Women's Championship, please? Please? Because that's what they all have combined, and that's crazy to me. This is not a rant of, oh, how dare. No, it's just these wrestlers are fantastic, and they deserve so much more. And this is why. It's a match like this. I love the weekend in Star. I'm going to gloat and celebrate the next match. But man, oh man, oh man. 2025 was kind of a lost year for Hazuki. That Fuwa-chan match felt like it woke her up. And now we're here. And I'm not even saying she needs to be woken up because she was doing some great stuff outside of Stardom. But I'm talking about in Stardom. Hazuki should be the Wonder of Stardom champion right now. She should have already been. Plain and simple. I don't know how much hope I should have. I don't. But when you get this match with Koguma, right, to win the belt, which was fantastic, and then you have this match She's making anything she has in front of her matter. This is why Hazuki is so freaking special. Truly, truly. And I get to celebrate again because my two of my other favorites in this company got to main event this show and be the center. But before I get there, watch this match if you haven't already. Let me know what you think. Let me know down below. What do you think Hazuki should do? Do you think Hazuki should win the Wonder of Stardom Championship? What do you think Mei Seira should do? Because I think both of them should be higher than even just this. And I love that we have the CML Japan Women's title because it's brought so many cool matches for Hazuki, but we want more. We want more. And for Mei Seira, man, oh man, oh man, oh man, she would be a great challenger for Konami. She would be a great challenger for Saya Kamatani. I'm just fired up because this is the type of match that fires you up. I'm going to get fired up again. Don't you worry. But that is my Hazuki spiel of the day. So thank you for listening. Then we had your main event, the Artists of Stardom Championship match, and I was worried. Coming off that incredible singles match between those two, between Hazuki and Mei Seira. I said to myself, man, they have to follow that. But there was a good recipe here. The recipe was Rina, Hina. That's the story going into the match. That is how they've built this match. You added the Tomoki Nabas of the world. You added Konami, your Wonder of Stardom champion. You added Fukigen Death. You added Lady C. It's a good recipe for a good match. The Artists of Stardom Championship titles have long been one of the most underrated championships in the world of professional wrestling, because when you get these titles on the line, when you get an opportunity to put them on the line, it results in a really, really good time. And this main event, I said to myself, man, oh man, oh man, I hope that final stretch is Rina and Hazuki. Oh, not Rina and Hazuki, though that would rule. Rina and Hina, because we builds to that. These two are the future of the promotion, and this is your first chance to really have them close out a main event, in full force, and that is exactly what they did. I think everyone did their job great in this match. This match was great. It was a great trios match. And the reason it got lifted over that list or over that level of good or very good or whatever you want to call it to great, in my opinion, is because of the closing stretch between Rina and Hina. Them trying to defend the judo throws and just consistently matching one another with fantastic move after fantastic move. Hell, they should know each other. They've wrestled so many times. And by the way, they're twin sisters. Like, that is the beauty of their feud. A feud that no one could tell. Not even them with Hana, because these two are twins. These two are two of the best wrestlers going today. They're both, I think they're 19 now. They're just sensational, man. They're so good. They're so good. And I'm so happy Stardom gave them this spot. The moment this match was made, I said, that's it. That's it. You're putting them in their first big-time Korakuen main against each other. That's a beautiful thing. And it paid off in the end. Rina ends up pinning Hina to successfully defend the Artists of Stardom Championships, as she should, giving her momentum going into her match with Konami. The only reason I thought, maybe we have Hina pin Rina and give them the belts is because maybe that would have allowed Hina to kind of jump in front of Rina, because I think that would have been a lovely little story to tell wrestling Konami, but that was not the case just yet. But awesome stuff here. And as we learned after the fact, after Rina pinned Hina in the middle of the ring, it will be Konami. It will be Rina. It will be hate versus hate at the January 21st Korakuen Hall show in the main event. So another big main event for Rina. That's it. That's it. We love Rina. You know, I am always amazed at how much they're willing to give her, but she steps up every single time. And there's a reason I just love watching her perform, because she is someone who is so advanced beyond her years in a way that when she finally gets that big moment, it's going to be such an emotional one for myself and so many other fans and so many other people, because it's going to be special. This is her second challenge for the Wonder of Stardom Championship, almost a year after her first. I don't know if she's going to beat Konami, but my oh my, would it be one hell of a way to kick off the 15th anniversary if Rina won that championship? Because hey, she was 4 when this company started. That's pretty crazy. Because the company's not that old. But I can't wait for the match. That'll be on the 21st, like I said. And you know who we're rooting for. We're all Team Rena all the way. Just a fantastic, fantastic outing. Good weekend for Stardom overall. Yeah, I just had a great time with it. Now we talk about the T Heart 1 day tournament. We're just going to talk about the two matches that Sari and Nori teamed up in. I love them as a duo. The first one, they faced Veni and Chi in tag team action, and it paid off to be a really good match. I'm just so happy that Sari is facing the Team Sariism crew in this tournament. That's really why I wanted to talk about it. Sari and Chi getting to share the ring and face off first time in a little bit. I also like the team of Venny and Chi. We've seen it a few times in Sendai Girls, so it was really cool to see this kind of be the pairing here on this tournament. Recommend checking out the show if you haven't, or at least the tournament itself. And it's also wonderful to see Nori. Ever since Nori was in the Dream Star 2024, I've just asked myself, why is it so hard to watch Nori still? Why is she not being booked everywhere? Why is she not in all these different matches? Because she's so uberly talented. And for me, seeing her team with Sari, I'm like, man, oh man, oh man, can we make this a thing? Can we keep this going? I hope so. I hope so, because it's I mean, Sari has figured out how to team with all these different people, right? Takumi, Chi, Miku, Nori. It's fantastic, but they had good chemistry in this, and I just think the match was so much fun. Sari pinned Chi to get the win and advance in the tournament, which I don't think comes as a shock. I think Sari and Nori were my pick to win the whole thing, but we also got some Veni Sari minutes, which I will never ever pass up. Anytime they share the ring, it is must see stuff. But let's talk about the main event. The main event became the Miku Kane showcase. And I just want to give some love to Miku Kane here as well. It was Miku Kane and Dash Chisako taking on Nori and Sari. Miku Kane, man, oh man, oh man, oh man. You want to talk, we had the breakout award, and that ultimately went to Victoria Zuki. And I don't think that is a wrong choice whatsoever. I just think last year had so many incredible choices. Miku Kane was one of them. Miku Kane is someone who, she's small in stature, but she's full of heart. She's full of talent. She's full of great skills. And watching her and watching Miku Kane, especially in a match like this where she's really paired up with, her and Sari have some great moments, but she's really paired up with Nori in the closing stretch. And I'm just watching. I'm like, man, oh man, oh man. This is an incredibly talented pro wrestler who I think anyone should be booking right now. Because not only is she giving her all in every match, but I just think she's so different from everyone in the scene. Yes, she's small, but she's full of fire. She's full of athleticism. Her senton bomb that she hits is one of the very best that I've seen. Just absolutely sensational. It was picture perfect in this match. And what this match ultimately has is you have the two great veterans in Sari and Dash who do their minutes, do their moments that are really good, but they also move out of the way for Nori and Miku Kane to really shine. This match was the best match of the tournament. I watched the whole thing. It was awesome. I recommend it. I recommend this just like I recommend the other two matches so far. We have two more big time recommendations coming your way. But yeah, it was the beauty of the match. Ultimately, it was Nori, though, who got the win for the team. Her and Sari getting the victory, winning the 1 day tournament. And again, hey, listen, this is a victory. To me, welcome to Team Sariism, Nori. You won a trophy with Sari. Now you have to stay. Please, 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 please. But a really fun tournament, one that I just wanted to highlight a little bit because I think a lot of people may skip over, may not even know it happened, and I think it's well worth your time to go check it out. So make sure to do that if you haven't already. Man, man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Everyone knew when Sendai Girls announced it, the potential that this match had. The potential that these two had. You have Saida, one of the great baby faces, one of the great powerhouses in Joshi, despite her size, despite her stature. She is one of the great powerhouses in all of Joshi wrestling. On the other side, you have Chihiro Hashimoto, the best powerhouse in professional wrestling, let alone Joshi wrestling. One of the great aces of Joshi, one of the best in the world. You make them collide in Shinkiba first ring in a main event setting, they're going to hit a home run. I said a lot of that this week. I said a lot of, I love professional wrestling. I love Joshi wrestling, and my oh my, was that a home run. This match ruled. Absolutely ruled. It is a powerhouse display, a match full of big time running into one another as hard as humanly possible with lariats, shoulder blocks, just power and power and power. The crowd was rightfully losing their mind for the entire thing, to the point where it was Saya Iida getting chanted for in opponent territory over Hashimoto, who is just such an incredible final boss like figure that it's like impossible to not want to cheer for who she's facing, just because that's the match she's so good at building up. I said to myself, when you retires, what does Hashimoto's year look like, right? What can it possibly look like? Because we haven't seen it in so long. She doesn't have a tag team partner anymore. It just doesn't exist. Sure, she could find a new one. I think there's some great options out there. But we're going to get more singles matches. We're going to get more showdowns like this one. And we're going to get more showdowns like this one, like for the Suriyami Oka one in Marigold, the Mikawada one for the title, the Sari one for the title. When we're just getting more singles Hashimoto, it is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And this match was a beautiful, beautiful thing. There is one point where Hashimoto hits powers through, right? Iida tries to roll through. She gets outpowered. Hashimoto lifts her and drops Iida on the tippity top of her head with a German suplex. I yelled. And then Hashimoto finished it off with a massive lariat, which I love, by the way. I love the massive lariat. This match is a must-see again. We have 4 matches now, sorry. Well worth your time. We got one more for you here today. But my, oh my, I think you saw the hype. If you're on Twitter, you already saw the hype for this match. But it's fantastic. Fantastic stuff. One of the greats of the year so far. And just a clear sign that Saya Iida needs to be doing more. Saya Iida obviously stepped into the Stardom Dream Queendom Wonder of Stardom title match and put on a fantastic babyface performance. It's one of the great babyface performances of 2025. After that match and this match and the Ami Soiree match, I don't know what else she needs to do to tell you, hey, I deserve even more than just the opportunity. But I'm hoping now, because my, oh my, Saida, one of the greats, one of the best in the world today now, comfortably in that conversation. She's just so sensational. Hashimoto. So, man, oh man, go out of your way to watch this. I didn't get to watch the rest of the Sendai show, so we won't talk about that here yet, but I wanted to make sure I told everyone, go watch the slugfest, the Haas fight between these two absolute monsters of Joshi wrestling. Just fantastic stuff. Now we get to the Marigold Korakuen, and we're going to talk about 4 matches here, and then we'll wrap up talking the latest Joshi retirement. Starting off, though, with Mai Sakurai versus Rei Seto. I think we have to make it a rule moving forward that Mai Sakurai has a signature singles match at Korakuen Hall against a young roster member or a lower card roster member. Because that now Ishikawa match from last year when Mai Sakurai made her return after losing the United National title to Victoria Zuki was awesome. So I said to myself, oh, now she faces Rei Seto. What could that look like? What could that be like? It's more of the same. More of Rei Seto stepping up. More of Rei Seto being a clear budding star in the world of Joshi. Rei Seto has continuously improved. She has an argument of most improved wrestler of 2025. I truly believe that. And now watching her in this match, in this showcase against someone like a Mai Sakurai who's on a higher level, right? It's one thing to connect against someone who you have like a connection with Victoria Zuki, but to do it with Mai Sakurai in Mai Sakurai's first match since a main eventing first stream, That's a incredible feather in the cap for Risa Sera. This match was really good. I really enjoyed it. Mai Sakurai is just so good at allowing the opponent to showcase themselves, and I think it's why she's just such an important piece of Marigold. If I'm going to recommend two matches from this show, this is the first one. I just think it's worth checking out, especially to see Rhea Seto and how good she is, but also just how good Mai Sakurai is at the same time. We then had Tsuru Yamaoka and Yuki Yamazaki facing Kazuna Tanaka and Kamomo Minami. A simple but effective young Marigold tag team match. One that ultimately leads me to say, I'm ready. Ready for what, you may ask? I'm ready for the Tsuru Yamaoka super duper push. Listen. Some may say it was a super push last year as a super rookie. Sure. No. We need the super duper push. I am ready for her to win a championship, a singles title, whatever it may be. She is fundamentally and just simply was the best wrestler in this match. And I love Yuka, love Kazuna, love Kamomo. But man, oh man, oh man, there is a level. There's a level ahead for Tsuru Yamaoka in 1 year. She just gets it. She is like a fish to water. She just gets it, man. And I feel like I do this all the time, but I'm going to keep doing it because I thought she had a performance that outclassed truly everyone. That's just the reality. But Kamomo Minami and her, really good chemistry. Yuki Yamazaki, always love Yuka. We always want to praise Yuka. Listen, Kazuna, I'm ready. I'm ready for Kazuna to challenge Victoria Yuzuki. All right, plain and simple. Like that feels like an obvious match we got to do. Yeah, man. I just love young Marigold. I'm always going to talk about them if they have a match against one another, and this was a chance to do that. So, a fun one here, and one where I just again I walk away saying, Tsuru Yamaoka, it is time. It is time. It is time. It is time. I know it's only been a year, but it's time. Hopefully her and Shino win those tag belts. Because I just think they should. I want them to. I really do. But shout out to all four. Young Marigold's future just is unbelievably bright. Then we had our semi-main event. It was Natsumi Shozuki, Chika Goto, and Shioko Koshino facing Nagisa Nozaki, Misa Matsui, and Chiaki, where Chiaki pinned Shioko Koshino in the middle of the ring, which was kind of a little bit of a surprise. So obviously Koshino coming off the United National Championship match, but hey, can't pin Go Chika, and we should not be pinning Natsumi Shozuki. The whole reason this match is here to talk about is because Natsumi Shozuki looks 110% in that ring. She's sharp, she's fluid, she's hitting everything with impact. She looks healthy. I love the new look, the new blue gear, the blue hair, everything about it. I'm like, man, Natsumi Shozuki should just challenge for the world title right now. Or she can challenge Suzuki, either one. But I think she should step up to the world title. And after how the main event went, or should I say the result of the main event, or the post match of the main event, I should say, I think it's definitely in the question or conversation of Suzuki being at the level to do just that. Overall, a fun trios match, as often happens in Marigold. I think they're just so consistently good at trios matches with any part of their roster. And I really like Darkness Revolution. I think they've actually hit a recent stride, especially with the Summit match they had. I just think they're on a good wavelength right now. So this was a fun one as well. But let's talk about the mega main event, the 28-minute Marigold Ultimate main event. It was Miku Ano and Utami Hashishita teaming up to face Mayu Iwatani and Victoria Yuzuki. I love me a tag team epic. I do. We don't get a lot of them anymore. I know some people don't love this match, but I did when it happened. I loved the Julia and Shuri versus Micah and Himeka epic main event from 2021. They got pretty much like 28 minutes for the Goddess of Stardom titles in a main event match. And I just have loved Joshi tag team main events since then. I think a mega main event with your top stars in an all-star type setting is always a home run. And I think doing so to build it up like they did, right? There's slow bits in the beginning, but they're all very entertaining. You have Mayu and Miku having minutes. You have really Mayu kind of taking a beating from both Utami and Miku at times to build to the big fireworks display that is really the final 15 minutes or so of the match with Mayu and Utami just freaking crushing it. Victoria Yuzuki and Mikuano, my, oh my, oh my. I said to myself, okay, when is Victoria Yuzuki challenging Mikuano? I say that a lot about a lot of people, but I want Mikuano to have a fantastic title reign, and I think everyone in this match should challenge her during that title. Well, I guess she already faced Utami, but I'm cool with another challenge because I really like their match. But Yuzuki and Aono just clicked, man. They just clicked. They went for the home run sequence before leading to Mayu and Utami. Big nasty kicks from Miku all match long, by the way. She was tattooing these two. She hit Mayu so hard in the back in one of the funnier moments of the year so far. When Mayu's like, okay, here we go. And then Miku just absolutely destroyed her back. And then you have Yuzuki on the other side, who is so phenomenal in terms of the level she's on. There's a reason she calls herself the future ace of this promotion. She hit a crushing knee to Mikuano, followed by a picture perfect Shari style drop kick, and just it was beautiful. But I love the finishing stretch, especially between Utami and Mayu. They are telling you they are going to have one of the best matches of the year in Mayu Utami's anniversary match. I'm going to be very emotional for that, I realize. But man, oh man, they're just so good. They're just so good. They are. And ultimately, it was Utami Hayashishita pinning Mayu Iwatani to win the epic main event, the ultimate main event, which was her idea, and pretty much guarantee herself a GHC women's title shot. Now, Mayu said, listen, I'd love to put the belt on the line, but you're going to have to ask the committee. Pop me big time. But her pinning Mayu is a big deal. Mayu doesn't lose. You know, in Marigold, she doesn't lose. So Tommy getting a big win over her before the anniversary, before the potential title match is a smart choice. I loved it. And Mayu sold it awesome. She was like, she was like depressed the whole time. She's like, I don't lose. I don't really like losing. I kind of love that. Kind of love that attitude. Make wins and losses matter. That's all I'm asking. But yeah, this tag match, go out of your way to see it. I think it's my favorite tag match of the year so far. And when I say I think, I mean I know it is. Just awesome. It's just awesome. It really is. It's an epic Joshi main event. I can't say enough good things about that. But let's talk about the post match real quick. So, like I said, Utami Hayashishita said, I would like to challenge for the JC women's title. Maya was like, well, there's a committee. You got to ask them. I'd be happy to. You beat me, so it's fine. And Utami said she'll ask the committee herself. That's not the big shocker. That's not the big news point. The big news point is this crazy, as Mikuano called her, punk, Chiaki. Chiaki, who, I think is someone who I like a lot. I think Chiaki has really become a really good tag team wrestler. Well, forget the tag belts. She wants the big one. She wants the Marigold World Championship. She stepped in the ring, all the charisma in the world, and I think that is a beautiful thing to have, and says, Mikuano, I want that. Oh, really? Well, that looks to be the direction, and I love it. It's crazy. It's crazy. It's a little bit insane, but I love insane. I need it. We need people challenging Mikuano. And why not Chiaki? It's not official yet. As of this recording, it's not official yet. Anything is on the table, right? But I'm not going to sit here and question. I'm not going to sit here and question the decision because it's what I want to see from this promotion. It's what I want to see for this title. It's everything I want to see for this title. It's everything that you need to try. And for Chiaki, it is the biggest opportunity of her career. Can she hit a home run? Can she prove she should be a main eventer moving forward? These are all the questions being asked within this one match. I think Mikuano is the perfect champion to raise her up and make that decision for us all to see. So Chiaki's challenging for the Marigold World Championship, and I am moved by that. And this Korakuen ended up being a solid one, despite the pretty simple card. But I'm all roads lead to Icon Forever on the 24th as we celebrate 15 years of Mayu Iwatani, which I just cannot wait for. And finally, we wrap up this week's Joshi Weekly video talking the retirement of Risa Sera. Risa Sera having her final match here on Monday the 12th against Suzuki. I couldn't pick a better opponent for her to wrap her career up against, obviously all their connections with prominence. Even before that, Ice Ribbon leaving together to form prominence, going to stardom together at one point. You couldn't pick anyone better. And ultimately, this is not more about the match, but the retirement of Risa Sera and what I think Joshi as a whole loses. It's no secret Risa Sera over the past especially the past year or two, has not been the same wrestler. She's dealt with injuries, she's dealt with plenty. But Risa Sera at her peak was such a fun, fantastic, exciting wrestler. Whether it be her as a regular wrestler, and I always think back to perhaps her last truly great one-on-one match, which was against Shuri for the world title in 2022, that I just loved. Her great tag team work with MOTYC as a Revolution, also with Suzuki and Prominence, or of course her death match work that I think really she is most famous for. Especially in the second half of her career, she really made that her identity. Risa Sera and losing who Risa Sera was in the Joshi scene is a big deal, I think. I think someone who can so fundamentally switch between deathmatch and being a regular wrestler, it's insane. And it's ultimately what Suzuki has become, right? While Suzu does not do the death matches nearly as much anymore, there's so much alike between those two. And Risa Sera is someone who has given me some of my favorite moments, some of my favorite matches. Like I said, that Shuri one still jumps off the page to me all these years later. It was like the match that really like altered Shuri's reign as a whole. And for Risa Sera, it was like, oh shit, she's that good. For those who didn't maybe watch her in Ice Ribbon, um, it sucks to lose any wrestler to retirement. We talk about this all the time, especially in Joshi over the past year. But I'm just very happy she was able to wrap things up on her terms. She fought through it this past year. If you watched her, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't. Let's be real. It wasn't pretty. Um, her knee was seemingly a mess, but she continuously fought through, and has reached this point where she can say thank you, um, where she can celebrate a career that was so special. I recommend to you all go to Resra Mag if you haven't, Resra Mag, and check out the awesome article from my good friend Trent, Risa Sera Long Live the Death Match Queen, that came out on December 9th. It's a fantastic article to get a love and appreciation for who she was to and who she's really made herself into. Being a deathmatch wrestler is hard. Being a Joshi deathmatch wrestler is even harder. And Risa Sera established herself and made herself someone different from everyone else by being kind of the leader in the pack of doing that. As she hangs up the awesome, 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 awesome look, the deathmatch look she had, as she hangs up the boots or whatever, she goes on to a new journey. She's going to be starting this smaller promotion, I believe, in her home prefecture called Wrestle Bingo. I believe it's Wrestling Bingo. It's Wrestle Bingo to be exact. So whatever that ends up being, um, I'm always going to root for her. I'm always going to root for what she does because, like I said, Risa Sera and what she brought to Joshi Wrestling will never be replaced. It won't be. It is something very unique that won't be here. And she was able to be a serious contender for any title in any promotion she stepped in, whether that be Stardom, Ice Ribbon, Pure J, especially over the last couple of years. I'm gonna miss the hell out of her. I really am. She like I said, she is someone who made me a real fan over the past, I don't know, 5, 6 years especially. I've gone back, I've watched some of her best work from the two to the 2010s, and she's just someone who will be incredibly missed. Here's just her accolades real quick before I move on. She was a 5-time international ribbon tag team champion, 4 times, mind you, with Mayukihi. She was also a 2-time Ice Cross Infinity champion. She really established the Fant Ice Belt championship and made that kind of a death match title in 2021 before exiting. She won the Artist of Stardom championships alongside Suzu and Kurumi Hiragi. She won the Wave tag team titles 3 times with Saki, the Pure J Openweight Championship back in 2024, and the World Women Pro Wrestling Diana World title last year. So, an incredible career, one of the great Joshi Indies wrestlers of the past 2 decades, and someone who, like I said, I think is going to be incredibly missed. Even if you haven't watched her in the past year or 2 or even 3, she's someone that I think made her mark in such a unique way, and I wish her all the best in her retirement. And I thank her. I thank her for some lovely wrestling memories that I got as I expanded outside of the world of Stardom and beyond. She's a big reason for that, and I just applaud her for wrapping things up. So make sure you check out that show. I believe she put it up for sale. You can check out that show over on her store. Just go on Risa Sera's Twitter account to find it. But yeah, that is all from me today. That is all from Joshi Weekly. Over an hour of a lot of topics, a lot of stuff to discuss, and hopefully you enjoyed it all. But we'll be back soon. We have a lot coming up. We have some big shows next week. We'll have a review for the Stardom Korakuen featuring Rina versus Konami in that main event. We'll also have a review for the Mayu Iwatani anniversary. And we're going to kick off a Mayu Iwatani anniversary series here very, very soon as well. So check all that out, be ready for all that. And we have so much more planned as well as the year goes on. Thank you everyone who subscribed recently. Thank you everyone who has been subscribed since day 1 or day 2 or whatever it may be. I appreciate all your support, and I hope you enjoyed the latest Joshi Weekly episode. We will be back, like I said, sometime in the next week or so. But until then, so long, see you later, and goodbye, everyone.